Chinese name for wild asparagus root is Tian Men Dong, which basically translates as heavenly spirit herb or divine spirit herb or something like that. And it's been widely regarded as a genuine spiritual treasure by yogis and monks and holy people in the East for thousands and thousands of years, really because of its profound ability to open up the mind and expand the consciousness. Now, this herb's also one of the world's top adaptogens, so it's really great at pacifying all of the debilitating effects of both chronic and acute stress. It's an amazing immune system tonic as well. And in the Taoist health system, it's considered to be a 3-treasure tonic, which means it deeply nourishes the Jing, Qi, and Shen energies, which are really the 3 fundamental energies that constitute the human body, mind, and spirit. Now, it's a really amazing tonic for the kidneys, the lungs, and the heart. And because it's such a powerful yin tonic, it feeds directly into the kidneys and the adrenals and really begins to replenish that Jing essence, which is really our fundamental life force that represents our genetic health and our ability to reproduce. And this herb can rebuild our core vitality to such a degree that it's had a very strong reputation for a very long time as a very potent fertility herb for both men and women. It's been used as an aphrodisiac, and it really increases the amount of seminal fluid in men and obviously, enhances the reproductive fluids in women as well. As a lung tonic, it can really increase our lung capacity and actually dilate the alveoli in the lungs and enhance oxygen absorption. It can also increase our ability to actually extract that qi energy from the surrounding environment and circulate that energy throughout the whole body. Now, qi here is really referring to the activity or the movement or the animation of that Jing essence. And it really refers mainly to our breathing and our digestion, our physical activity, to our immune system as well, and also to our minds, the way we feel, because obviously the breath is inextricably linked to how we feel mentally and emotionally. And because this herb is such a demulcent herb, it's actually very, very soothing to both the upper and lower respiratory tract. And this is actually a part of why it's so good for the skin as well, because it really allows the skin to be more soft and supple and flexible. But it's really as a Shen tonic or a spirit tonic, where wild asparagus root truly is in a league of its own, because it can open up the heart center, really open up the heart chakra and allow the consciousness to reside there more fully and more completely. And in both Taoist and Buddhist philosophy, the heart center is considered to be one of the main seats of our consciousness, where feelings of true love and peace and generosity and acceptance and compassion, all of these states of being, all of these qualities of our consciousness can arise much more naturally with less effort and less struggle when the heart center is open. Now, in Tibetan cosmology, the heart center, or the heart as an organ, or the heart chakra, are all related to the space element. Now, regarding our consciousness, the space element is really the nature of our minds. It's the primordial infinity of our consciousness. It's the limitless expanse, the unlimited potential of our minds. And when we begin to reside more in the heart, then we begin to rest more in this limitless expanse of the mind, and we can really understand duality a little bit more accurately. We begin to identify less with duality. We begin to identify less with good and bad, right and wrong, black and white, left and right, and we can rise above our samsaric condition and actually see things from a much broader perspective. The heart-centered consciousness really affords us a much bigger picture perspective. And this is, I think, one of the reasons why wild asparagus root has been called the flying herb for so many thousands of years now, because it really helps us to soar above the details of our lives and become less emotionally invested in our lives. We can begin to experience less attachment to certain things. We can begin to experience less fear or aversion or anger towards certain things. our whole outlook on life becomes less divided, less fragmented, less dualistic, and much more inclusive. It becomes a lot easier from a heart-centered perspective to recognize the interconnectedness of all life and really how everything is interdependent. And we can recognize more the unity of creation, the unity of consciousness. And so feelings of openness and stability and clarity can really begin to take the place of anxiety and stress and depression and all this kind of emotional turbulence that we experience all the time in our lives. But there's another reason why this herb has been called the flying herb, and that's because it can have a very direct influence on our dream state. Now, it's not at all uncommon that people that use wild asparagus root end up having dreams where they're just flying through their dreams. Very vivid dreams, dreams of clarity where they're flying, lucid dreams. Now, this is something I've experienced myself. The first time I ever took wild asparagus root, I had a really vivid flying dream that night, and to be honest, most times that I use it, I do have flying dreams. Now, it's actually one of my favourite herbs for supporting the lucid dreaming practice, because although it gives you that kind of airy flight sensation, it is very stabilizing and it is very grounding, and it does provide a much more enhanced state of clarity. And so when we enter into the dream state, becoming lucid within that dream state and actually being able to work with the dream on that level becomes much more of a likelihood. So this really is one of the most powerful herbs for any kind of dream work or lucid dreaming. And the other reason that it's been known as the flying herb for so many thousands of years is because legend states that in the wild mountainous regions of China and Korea, some yogis and spiritual masters actually developed themselves to such a degree that they learned how to fly. They could actually physically fly through the mountains. And a part of this unbelievable accomplishment has been attributed to their long-term use of wild asparagus root.